Hey everybody, hi, it's Nettie coming to you on this beautiful Monday night again, like we do every week, with our Total Inspired Living Tribe Hangout. And once again, I'll just reiterate that the purpose of this is to bring you as much value as what we can. That's what it's all about. I mean, people that are out there struggling in their own business, they've got something that's going on and they want to have someone help them through it and suggest ways of doing things and suggesting what they should be doing. That's why we're here. We don't do this for ourselves, we do it for all of you out there. So we're going to try and bring you some value tonight. This is a topic that well, let's just put it
Hey
this
everybody,
way.
hi, it's Nettie coming to you on this beautiful Monday night again, like we do every week.
And what's
with
going
our
on
Total
here?
Inspired Living Tribe Hangout. Once again, I'll just reiterate
Oh, wait.
that the purpose of this
Okay,
is to bring
okay.
you.
I think I know what that was. Yeah, you got a double dose of me, okay? There you go. That's a great way to start off. No, there could never be two of me. But I'll tell you, this topic tonight, that what we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to say that I have been known to get pretty real and pretty raw and tell it like it is. Don't pull any punches, tell the truth, and really hit home with you. So
once again, I'll just reiterate
Okay, I think I know what that was. I'm not.
Yeah, you got a double dose of me, okay?
Okay, are we doing this again? All right, yeah. All right, I think we're good now. Holy smokes, I can't believe this is happening. But anyways, yes, I can. The subject tonight is on the power of events and how it can change your life. So when I talk about this, I get very, very passionate about it. So I'm sure the rest of the girls are going to be every bit as raw and every bit as real about this, because the importance of this one thing can change your whole business. And so we're all going to be able to tell you how it has affected us and how it has changed our business. And then you can see for sure how it can affect you. So, you know what? I'm going to let somebody else take the reign for a while and make sure I don't triple talk or double talk here like I've been doing. It's Shirley. Hey, we haven't seen you in a few weeks, so you want to say hi to everybody and fill them in on your take on the power of events and how they have affected your life.
Hey, Nettie, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on tonight. And, going to events is just such a powerful subject for me in my life. It's been such a catalyst because, when I first started going to events, I was 17, 18, I believe. And, it just took so much out of me to go. So kind of what I want to share tonight is exactly the one thing that has transformed my life in going to events. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about what happens before you get to the event. Because so many people, you hear, oh, get to the event. And, there's so many people that are holding back because they don't believe that they can get there. They believe the excuses that are holding them back from getting there, and they don't understand that everyone has those same excuses. Everyone has those struggles in getting to the event. So some of my struggles have been just being terrified of going to an airport or being in a car for 19 hours. I grew up Amish, and one of the biggest nightmares that I've had was, my plane going down or not knowing where my gates were. And believe me, the 5 events that I've gone to, there's always been something that almost drastically went wrong and ruined my whole trip. And yet I pushed through it and I went anyway. And I want to tell you that if there's an event coming up right now and everyone's telling you to go and everyone's so positive, and yet you're facing this huge wall of just, it feels like you can't break through it and get to the event, I know how it feels. You know, I don't know what it is, but I just seem to feel, I know that when it is really important for you to be at an event, the challenge or the hurdle will be just as great. You know, you'll almost miss your plane. You'll something will go wrong with your hotel. You'll, you know, not be able to get a ticket, or something will go wrong, because that's just how it is. So I want to share with you that one of my biggest takeaways from being at an event was my last event, actually, a couple months ago. And I was sitting in a row, and I was just looking all around me and feeling the energy of the room. And I looked at the person that was right beside me. She was an amazing woman. She was making $30K per month. And I looked behind me, and I seen another couple that I don't know how much money they were making. It really doesn't matter. But what I felt before the event was that I'm not equal to these people, that, you know, I'm somehow below them, that, you know, they're on stage and I'm down here. And, you know, I just felt so small. But at this last event, I felt equal. I felt like I had the same chance as everyone else. I felt like we were all there in one level playing field. So one of the biggest takeaways that I got from events, and what you need to understand is when you get to events, is that you are surrounded by people who you may look up to them, be scared of them, or whatever, but when you get to the event, they'll be your brothers and your sisters. They'll be your family. They'll be there for you. And you'll be able to experience the magic and, you know, experience their success as your own. So I just wanted to share that real quickly. Nettie, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me if there's any in the comments below. But just remember this, is that when you're looking at going to an event and there's something holding you back, know that you're not alone, and know that it's normal, and know that all that lies before you is your decision to push through no matter what, because what's on the other side of your struggle is getting to the event, and that's where your breakthrough is. That's where your success lies. So that's all I have for tonight.
On that note, Shirley, when you say your success and your breakthrough, I know you were at the last event that I was at the same time. What would you say was your biggest takeaway from that event? When you came out of that 3-day event, what did you say to yourself, or how did it hit you?
I guess other than, you know, sitting in the audience and feeling suddenly for the first time that, you know, there was no division between me and the leaders or between me and the newbies. You know, that blew me away, and just feeling that I belonged. And I don't know, I mean, getting to meet our tribe was pretty awesome. You know, we got to experience, you know, just the companionship of all the people that we work with.
Yeah. No, that's great. And, you know, maybe I'll just talk about being at the event, too, in a little bit, and how the events have impacted me. But before I start with how the actual event started, I think what we all have to realize is that if you want to get to another level or the next level of success in your business, it's a must that you invest in yourself for your wisdom and for your learning. It just is. And that's what events offer to you. You can buy all the products in the world, and you can sit at home and you can go through them, and you will probably be successful. You know, as long as you continue to do and you don't quit, you will probably be successful. But when you take yourself and invest yourself by going away for that 3 days or 4 days or whatever that event takes, and you get yourself around like-minded people, people that are after the same goal, the same vision that you have, they can be making $50,000 a month, they can be making 25 a month, or maybe they haven't made anything yet. But they're all there for the same reason. They've invested in themselves because their goals and their vision it's super important to them, and that's what they want. They want freedom in their life. They want success in their life. And I know my big breakthrough, I had two major events that I've gone to, and one was Denver a year ago, and a little over a year ago, and I just nicely gotten into Empower Network, and those are the events that I want to talk about. Yes, I have gone to some other events, and yes, they were very inspiring, but I want to concentrate on these events that I went to. And my very first event in Denver, I made a decision because I saw the whole vision of so many people and what a family we had there, and I saw the whole vision of the potential that I could reach down inside myself and achieve. And that is when I made the decision, along with Sam, that I was going to give this everything. Because I think, quite honestly, I had gone into Empower Network with that damn thing that people say, okay, I'll give it a try. Bam! I went to an event. Holy crap, there was no trying anymore. There was going to be doing. There was going to be succeeding. There was going to be, this was going to be my life. And at that point, I made a decision to go all in. Now, let's fast forward a little bit and talk about Charlotte, which took place the end of June. Pardon me, I'm sorry. Go back to January, Miami. That was a major event that Sam and I went to. Now, there's a saying that you never know when your breakthrough is going to come. So can you actually afford to miss events? And I am living proof that I was at Miami. I needed to be at Miami because anybody that's in business, I don't care if you go to work every day in an office or if you're in a different kind of a job or whatever, every so often you need that kind of kick, that inspiration, that something just to keep you going because it gets so mundane or monotonous or whatever. But events just bring you back to life again. And so, and that's only human nature to say, wow, here I go again doing the same thing every day. That's only human nature, okay? So we went to this event in Miami, and you know, I needed to hear something. And I wasn't sure what I was going to hear, but I needed to hear it. And David Sharp stood up and gave probably a 2-hour speech that I have never heard anything like in my life. I've watched a ton of inspirational videos and everything else, but boy, he nailed it. And when he was done, it was like he lit my ass on fire. Excuse that terminology, but I didn't care. I was going to climb walls. I was going to go through brick walls. I didn't know how to, because it was my time. And he had convinced me. This $1 million earner had convinced this person that it was my time, that there was no reason why I get the results that I wanted to get. I may not get the same results as him, but I was going to get the results that I wanted and I needed. And I came home and my business completely flipped around. Completely flipped around. And so if you can have someone that's very successful look at you and say, you can be a rock star, what do you think that does to you? How do you think you feel? Makes you feel pretty darn good. Makes you feel, doesn't matter what age you are, like Shirley down there at 21, me, old as dirt. I can still feel like I've got a lot to give to people. And I walked out of there, when he was done, could not stop sobbing. And I went out into the foyer and I made myself a video of how I was feeling. The sobs were happy tears because I had had my breakthrough. I had seen that light come on, and what a fantastic feeling that was. Oh my gosh, it was just incredible. But, you know, that's what it did for me. And there's going to be a couple other people that talk and their stories too about what it did for them. But I just want to touch on the base of, I know one of the excuses that people use, and I use the word excuse, I'm sorry, that they can't go is because they say, I just can't afford it. I don't have it. How can I do it? How can I make it? I can't do it. Well, if you're starting your business and you want to be successful, you have to turn all those words into, how am I going to make it happen? Because when there's a will, there's a way. And that's not malarkey talking. I mean, go out into your garage, go into your basement, up to your attic. I guarantee you've got something up there that you can put on eBay and you can start making a few bucks. Sam's a hermit, and he's got hordes of stuff in the garage. And when he decides to put stuff out there on eBay, it's amazing what he can do. Or do without. I have sacrificed buying clothes. I have sacrificed going out for entertainment. I have not bought things so that I could invest in myself. Because when it comes to our education, this is a business, people. You took this on to be a business. You didn't take it on to just be a hobby. And if you did, okay, fine. I can understand why you don't want to pay out to go to these events. But not me. I bought into this so that I could get my own freedom and help tons and tons of other people get their freedom too. And you know, a person that's not meant for business will sit back and say, I'm going to invest the very least to get started, and if I see results, then I'll spend more money in myself. Now, a person who will succeed is going to say, I'm going to do whatever it takes to buy into training, to buy into a business that's a great opportunity, to get to events, so that I can invest in myself and make myself worthy of something. That's the difference. Are you guys seeing this? Do whatever you can do. And I'm a great believer of, if you know an event's coming up in 3 months, start setting aside $20 a week or $25 a week. And you'd be amazed how quickly that adds up. That's one pizza, folks. That's all it takes. There's tons of ways that you can room up with somebody. You can carpool if you're in the United States. I know that's tough when you're in Europe or overseas in Australia or New Zealand or an Asian country. It's hard. But please, please try and do it, because, oh my gosh, the things that you will take away. You go there to be motivated, to get inspiration, to get your determination back, to get your empowerment back, and it is delivered on a tray to you. I just can't. I mean, I told you I was going to get real and I was going to get raw, and that's what I'm telling you. If sell your firstborn if you have to. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't do that. Don't send me an email, okay? I just was, off the cuff here. So, but no, all I'm saying is that, really put your thoughts together, pray about it or something, and I'm going to tell you, something will come to mind as to how you can afford to get there. If you can afford to get there, because it will change everything in your business. That I promise you. I guarantee that. I will go that far to say that. I don't know, Erica or Zen, have you got anything that you can add to what I'm saying here about that?
Yeah, actually, I wasn't even going to address the aspect of should you go or how are you going to get there, because I know that for me, events are so strong, they change things up. there's two aspects to it to me, especially in the business that we're in. And what I love particularly about Totally Inspired Living Tribe is that we actually have threads going on 24/7 on Facebook with each other, so it's awesome. We have a built-in community. But the two aspects, one is social and one is business. And from a social standpoint, we all work alone, but we're all aiming for the same goal. We may not have the same exact dream, but we're creating our own dream. And that's strictly entrepreneurship, and you can't talk about that to every other person who works a job that's your friend or a family member, because they usually don't understand that. So you have to have that camaraderie. So the social aspect is meeting up with your team, because it changes things up. The more cohesive the team, the more creative you get with each other about how to help each other. And then the business aspect is you've got 3 days of immersion. You've left your husband and kids or boyfriends, whoever. You've left all these people behind to go immerse yourself in your dream. And so what you need to do is get there. And Nettie already told you, go find something in the garage to sell. I'm going to assume that you're going to get there. And when I'm sitting there, you know, I wasn't even going to address what Shirley was talking about some people making 30 grand a month, somebody making 0 a month, or somebody making some money a month. And, you know, there's plenty of people who are new, plenty of people who are seasoned. I just look around and I think, I am where I'm at, but look at where all these people, newbies, right on up to the leaders, the only way to leap and take a giant leap for yourself is to show up. Because the thing that happens at Empower Network events is they have very powerful speakers. And I can't wait for the lineup that we've got going so far. I only know 3 that are speaking so far. But what happens is that each of them are so individual and so different that you don't know when you're going to hear that one line from that one speaker that is going to take you and have it go boom. I've got my plan, my structure. I've got my week when I get home figured out suddenly. I've got where I've been kind of noodling around but not actually doing anything with. I've figured out how to manufacture what I need to do for the next week or 2 to get some results, what I'm looking for. And it's not a competition. It's what I'm looking for to hone in on what I want to structure, what I want to do with my dream. And for me, getting to an event it really is about the immersion with other people who have a very similar goal in mind, which is to help other people, help themselves, and change up their lives. And that's what a 3-day event is about, changing things up in a positive way. It's so powerful. I think I'll stop there so you can ask a question or say something. I don't know.
Well, no, you covered it great, Zan. I really appreciate that. But I want to go back and ask you the same question that I asked Shirley. Has there been one thing or 2 things that you've taken away from an event that you've come back and you've put it right into practice, or you've known that this is my breakthrough? I mean, one of the things that I found too when I went there, and I'm not going to steal your thunder, I'm going to turn it back to you to answer this, but I know I learned from listening to speakers on how to be a leader, which is extremely important to us all too. I mean, we all want to get a team, and we need to be that leader. You know, right now we've got the tribe, which is excellent, but when you stand up there and listen to these people that came from you know, living in a van or living in a small apartment that they couldn't pay their rent for $450 to being millionaire earners, and now they're leaders. Yeah. I mean, don't tell me I can't be a leader. Yeah. And that's not what they're doing. They're telling us we can't be a leader. But that's part, you have to show your team how to get to events too. So I'm sorry, what would you say was one of your biggest takeaways from an event or events?
Well, number one, let me speak to what you just said, because each and every speaker usually says something similar to that. Yeah. I'm just like you. I'm just progressed in either time or you know, further along in this business than you. But everybody who's sitting in the room could do this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's important to know, that if you have a strong enough vision and you're going to sit there with it and you're going to immerse yourself and listen to each speaker, you will continue. You do the daily steps that you can. You will make changes. You will change things up. You will get what you want. You have to be clear on what you want, which is what I love when the speakers, one that actually at the Charlotte event, it was a huge takeaway for me, actually, because I was trying a little bit of everything because, you know, I can write, I can talk, I can do this, I can do that, and I thought, well, let me try a little bit of everything. And then Nicole Cooper got up there, with that test, that quiz, to find out where exactly your personality falls in line. And when I took that, I went, okay, this very clearly points to that I should myself and put myself on video. This very clearly tells me that that might be a strong suit for me. And so, you know, a takeaway like that, it's like something that I knew about myself, but still I would think, well, let me do these other things too. Let me just try it all a little bit. Instead of mastering, that was another takeaway. Get one thing that you're good at and master the heck out of it. And then move on to something else, incorporate something else. But master one thing, and I'm still working on that because I tend to want to keep on trying different stuff all the time. But I try to hone myself into 2 days a week, making some videos and putting them in blog posts, and then doing whatever else I do for marketing. But it's really important that you kind of identify the who of who you are and where your personality falls into that. It's a great quiz so that you can kind of sort out your dominant factors of your personality to play to your strengths. And then your weaknesses will automatically kind of be uplifted by that. That's the interesting thing. You don't have to hide weaknesses. You're not weird. You're not good enough in different aspects. No, when you play to your strengths, your weaknesses start to rise to the occasion as well, and they get honed in on getting stronger. Or you get a reframe and you shift how you even look at it. It's no longer a weakness. It helps you play into your strength better. And so, yeah, that takeaway for me was pretty powerful. You know, just hearing the different speakers and the way that they word things. You know, what for Shirley might go, boom, wow, there's my takeaway. Might for me be, oh, okay, that was cool, but I really like what he just said or she just, and it's interesting because, you know, for every student there's a different type of teacher, and I'll just equate it to maybe like learning how to ski. I mean, I've taken ski lessons from different types of people. And that one line just goes, boom, oh my God, I got this. And that's exactly what happens when you have a lineup of powerful speakers who are leaders now, but were once just like you, sitting in front of a computer, trying to figure out the system, make it happen, make it replicate, make it duplicate, build a team, get a bunch of people that are like-minded and very kind of similar in values, like you know, our tribe tends to be, and we have a lot of men in our tribe, and it's all still the same. It's very cohesive, and we're all working on just that. So those people who are speaking to us simply are just that one snap ahead where they put it together, and boom, they're on a stage and they're telling you, you know what? Here's what I did. Here's my story. You're next. When are you going to be up on stage? And that's the story I tell myself when I sit out there. I think, okay, that was a cool story. Those are cool takeaways. When's my turn up there? I start plotting, and you know, so it helps me plot my vision of what I want to do. Now, do I necessarily want to stand up at a stage at an Empower Network event? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I mean, it would be kind of fun, but you know, the importance is that we're all kind of on an equal playing field. It's just, how are you going to play the game? And when you immerse yourself for 3 days and hear such powerful speakers talking one after the other every hour, and then meeting them out in the hallways, and they're always open to talking, photo ops, having a quick video. And you know what? The structure of the people at Empower Network are top notch. I've been to a lot of events in my life because I was in sales before and I was a hairstylist before that. There's a lot of people that come together for the power of a group and learning. But this group has an exceptional amount of people who are on a track that actually care about other people, and they truly do. And I love that.
Yeah. Boy, that was really well put. And on that note, when you said about being on stage, I've already got my music picked out that I'm going to play.
So do I. It's an old song, but I love it. But you know what? We'll see. I might change it.
Does anybody else have anything to ask, you know, Shirley or myself or Zen? Erica, we haven't allowed you to speak yet, but does anybody have anything to ask you guys before I bring out Erica?
I'll check out the thread.
Okay.
And while you do that, Zen, I just thought of something while you were speaking about the event is another thing that I took away from North Carolina. It kind of seemed like the running theme of the event was cash that check. And really what that meant was, and one thing I loved about that event was they had workbooks that went along with the speakers that were going to be on stage. And the workbooks were specifically designed for you to take action. You know, what is the one thing that you learned from this speaker that you're going to do when you get home? You know, what are the 3 things that this speaker said that you know, just made you break through? And it was there were all these pages, and it was like that for every speaker. So what we went home with then was, you know, are you going to take this workbook and are you going to go home and are you going to put the workbook in your desk and never look at it again? Or are you going to go home with the workbook and open it up and on each page see the uncashed checks? Because what one speaker said may be worth, you know, $1,000 to you. You may have a breakthrough, or what you apply from someone else may be worth $10,000 to you. So really, when you're taking notes at an event, what they really are is uncashed checks. And I'm going to speak to you for a minute for those of you who have been to events before, regardless if they've been to, you know, Empower Network or not. It's for you to pull out all those boxes, and if you're like me, you know, you have boxes of notes that you've taken at events. Take out those boxes and see how many uncashed checks you can find, and go back over them again, because you know, that was one of my biggest issues, that I would take notes of training or when I went to events, and then I would never look at them again because I hated my handwriting. So I did forget to mention that one of my takeaways from North Carolina was that they are uncashed checks. So I just wanted to add that in there, Zen, while you're checking out the thread. And if you have, if you found any questions, you guys can go ahead and answer them. Or just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, that was a really good point, Shirley, because I remember when Mike Hobbs said that, and Neem Arthur kind of backed him up by saying, we're like popcorn, and we come to an event, and suddenly we go pop, because something goes off on us, and we just really, and like Zen said, it might be different for you than it is for me, but you could just hear the pop, 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 pop all over the room when she said that. You know, it became a standing something that everybody was saying all weekend, along with the uncashed checks. It was really awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty powerful. I've got one comment here, and I just wanted to read it because it actually speaks right to what I just said, and it's Cassie Bowen. Thank you, Cassie. It says, this is why I invest 1 hour every Monday to be here with you guys. Because you see, one thing that I might say, or Shirley might say, or Nettie might say, or Erica might say, might strike one person out there just the right way. And that's exactly why being here and being at events is so important, because just a different type of wording, just a minor twist on something that you already knew could be an unwritten check and a quick pop, and suddenly you're on a different track. And guess what? You go home and you start implementing and you're on fire because for 3 days you've been in total immersion. You're on fire and you're ready to go, and you've got all your snap, crackle, pops, and you've got all these uncashed checks, and you just go home and you start getting creative and getting into your zone. And it's really important in that way. I think it's really powerful. And one of the things about, you know, preparation for going, and I have a little secret for everybody, because as soon as I was done there and found out where the next event was, I booked a couple rooms, because just in case at the last minute I can't get a room now, guess what? Yes, you can. I can't book your flights, I can't do everything for you, but I booked that because you can cancel up to 48 hours in advance. And I thought, well, you know what? If it ends up with 4 people going, I just don't have a room, you know, scrambling, well, now I have a room. Let's eliminate one excuse. Okay, and if you need rides, maybe it's a good time to start PMing around now to say who's driving in the direction of Orlando, or can we hook up here or there, or any of those things that you need to do to make it happen and make it on the you know, on the cheap for yourself, if that's what you're looking to do, you know. And listen, you know, when you book a flight and you make a commit, you just go. Because come hell or high water, I will be in Orlando, and I booked my flight, I think it was four weeks ago, because it just was a matter of, you know what, just get there. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of great things happening there. Go.
Oh, amazing. And that was, what an awesome idea, to book extra rooms at the hotel. And on that note, guys, you don't have to stay at the hotel where the event is being held. Empower Network usually blocks off rooms at a better rate than you can get them at that hotel if you just walked in through the door. But you could stay anywhere. So, you know, that's not an issue that you have to stay there. But I want to move on, because I want to bring out somebody that has actually been able to pick her music and pick her topic and talk on stage at an Empower Network event. Oh my gosh, yes. So she can speak to us from being a participant and watching events, plus being someone on stage and actually speaking if she chooses to talk about that too. So Erica, please take it away for us, okay?
Gosh, I wasn't going to actually. I'd completely forgotten about that, and I was actually going to mention it because the talking on stage, but I completely forgot, because what I wanted to actually talk about was resistance, and you know, a lot of people, you know, they resist getting to their first event, or any event actually, but I just really want to address that, because I think it's just one of the most powerful things when you can get over that resistance and actually just do it. Your entire life will change. And I just want to give you a quick story of how, you know, I was resisting big time getting to my first event, and I had excuses. I had all the excuses in the world. For, you know, for starters, I lived in New Zealand at the time. And for me to get to my first event, you know, to like travel to the entire other side of the planet by myself, it was just ridiculous. It's like, I'm not going to do it. It's too far, too much money. It's going to take too much time. I had every excuse in the book, and I did not want to go. And I had been in Empower Network for 8 months at that time, because I think we started in October, and the event, there was an event coming up in June. And I tell this story a lot, so in case you've heard it all before, I'm not going to tell the full story, but just going to kind of gloss over it. I desperately wanted to not go so bad that I convinced myself that as I was thinking of not going, that the event had already been. Okay, this is how powerful the mind is, right? So I'd made up in my mind that the event had already been, and I'd missed it, and everything's cool, and you know, I'm fine. I'm just going to keep on, you know, doing my thing. And I got an email one day, and it was from, and he was talking about his resistance getting to his first event. Didn't want to go too far. It was in Vegas, and you know, he just didn't want to do it. You know, just resisted. And he said something triggered something in him, and he made a decision to go. And he went on to make about $25 million in his niche. And I got that email. I'm like, ooh, ow. I'm not feeling really comfortable about that. My event's gone. I'm kind of, you know, doing my business, you know, thinking that pounding away on the keyboard's going to, you know, get me the results I want. And then the next day, this is the universe. When you start plugging into the universe, it's going to freak you out how smart she is. Now she's just always guiding you in the right direction. And the next day, I got an email from a guy, and he was actually someone in our community, and he was on a bike, and he was out in Arizona or some beautiful mountain biking area, and it was a 15-minute video, and he told the story from his heart of how he didn't want to go to his first event because he couldn't afford to go. He couldn't afford his ticket, he couldn't afford food, he couldn't afford to get there. He was an American and couldn't afford to get to his event. And eventually something snapped in him, and he said, well, I've got to get to my first event. I've got to go. So he borrowed money from his folks for the flight, and he didn't have enough money for food. And so what he was actually doing was he was rationing out $5 a day, and he was buying one big salad, and that salad had to last for 3 meals. But he was too scared to put it in the fridge, because if he put it in the fridge and pulled it out again, the hotel might charge him for the food that he'd already bought, because it measures on weight, right? And the story just, it really got to me as he was telling it. He was just so humble. And that guy went on to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, what? What? And I'm listening to his story, and I'm like, I'm such a loser. Like, my event's gone. Why didn't someone tell me how important it was to get? And I was really angry. I was so angry at myself, because I hadn't emptied my cup. I hadn't, listened to the people I needed to be listening to. I was listening to myself and my stupid excuses, and I'd messed up. I'd effed up big time. I didn't go. I'm like, what have I done? And I'll never forget, I went into my back office. I don't know why. What was I looking for? Like, my event's gone. Why would I check the date? And I looked at my back office, and I realized that my event was next week. It hadn't gone. It hadn't passed. And I swear to God, I pulled out my wallet, I pulled out my credit card, I bought my ticket, I bought my flight that day, I got my hotels booked, and I was going. No question. No question. And that anger I felt at having nearly missed it was the momentum. It created the energy that shifted everything in my life, in my business, everything. Remember, I had a ton of excuses. What you may not know is that my marriage was falling apart. We had risked everything to build this business. We'd quit our jobs. It was the worst time in life. Like, me getting from New Zealand to Atlanta was not comfortable at all. And so I went down to the beach, and something had shifted in me. That decision to get to my first event, something changed in me. And this is what I really want to impress upon you. When you make a massive shift and you get to an event, you change. I hadn't even got to my first event, and I changed. I had my breakthrough before I got there. My breakthrough was, I'm over being a wussy. I'm over being small. I'm over sitting behind my computer thinking I can do this by myself. I had my breakthrough before I even got on the plane. And I went down to the beach, and I cut this video. I grabbed my phone. I was still so angry at myself for nearly missing it, right? And I made this video, and I published it. And I don't know what it was about that video, but I started growing a team. By the time I got on my flight, my team had grown. By the time I got from Auckland to Sydney, I think I had like 4 people join the team. By the time I got from Sydney to LA, I had about 5 more people join the team. By the time I got to Atlanta, I think I had about 17 people join my team between cutting that video and landing at Atlanta. Why? I was different. All of a sudden, I had stepped up and become the leader I needed to be. People saw me differently, okay? Now, there's one thing I want to share with you. Our marriage was on the rocks. Like, I was losing my husband, and he was overseas at the time. We were not in the same country when I had made this decision to pull out my credit card and buy my ticket and get to Atlanta. He noticed that there were massive funds missing from our account. And he goes, honey, what's happening? I'm like, I'm going to Atlanta. And he goes, really? Okay. Well, I hope you get what you need there. And I'll never forget, at the end of the event, I cut another video, of course, but at the end of the event, and that video was called Don't You Ever Quit on Your Dreams. That went viral. I think I had 1,000 hits before I left Atlanta. And I rang my husband, and I said to him, honey, you won't believe what I saw. You won't believe it. They did this thing called the Commission Countdown. 95% of the room were making money. I said, oh my God, you have no idea how normal these people are. You have no idea. Normal people just like you and me, making money. We can do this. And I'll never forget, he was sitting on the end of the phone. There was this big pause. And he goes, honey, I believe you. I'm coming home. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know when your breakthrough is going to happen. It could be before you get to the event. It could be during the event. It could be after the event. You don't know. You change. When you get around people who are going for the same dreams as you, you change. Everything in your world changes energetically because of what you experience there. Because I made a decision to get to my first event, I grew a team. I grew a full team. Look at them here, my beautiful babies. I love them so much. The culture we have within Totally Inspired Living, you won't find it anywhere, I promise you. This group was built on heart and soul. I built something beautiful because I made a decision to get to my first event. You will do the exact same thing when you believe with every fiber of your being that this is where you're meant to be. If I didn't get to my first event, I don't know if Tilt would be here. I don't know if these ladies would be. They'll be somewhere doing something fabulous and something, because that's who they are, but I don't know if they'd be here doing this. Do you know what I mean? So, events will change your life. They will absolutely change your life. And there's one thing I just want to talk about. You know, Zen mentioned immersion. It's all the immersion. It's about getting around these people who have trodden your path, who have shared your pain, who have been through the shit to get to where they are. You know, Tracy Walker, one thing she said on stage, and I'll never forget it, and it's really mantra, you've got to get through the shit to get to the sugar, okay? And when you surround yourself with these people that are going through shit just like you, oh man, all of a sudden you want to fight that fight. Because you want to get your ass up on stage. You want to share your story. You want to be that soldier, that captain, that general, whatever that's up on stage, telling people to go home and build your business because you did. Because somewhere along the line, an event fired you up. It put that fire in your belly that made you just say, yes, I'm doing this. It's conviction. You look around you and you see all of the people doing it. And the ones up on stage, they've done it. And you look any different. All they did was follow a blueprint, you know? And it's that conviction and that belief that I can do this too. You can't get that sitting behind your computer. You cannot get that sitting behind your computer. Behind the computer is theory. When you get to an event, that's when you start to walk the talk. We do a lot of talking behind the computers. We do a lot of internet stuff. We do a lot of socializing. But when you touch, hug, embrace people who are real and that have gone down your journey, that's when everything changes for you. You have to make that human connection, and you have to have that total immersion that Zen was talking about of people who are all going in the same. Because let me tell you something, there's a lot of shit out here that you just don't want to have to deal with all the time. And one way to get rid of all of that is to come to an event and surround yourself with people who are doing it. And I think that, my darlings, is all of the notes that I wanted to cover. Oh, and one thing for all of you guys overseas, I get how hard it is to get to an event. I get that. I do. I honestly do. But they do say that those who travel the furthest have the biggest breakthrough. I know some people who live an hour from the event who won't get up off their ass and go. I know. That just absolutely blows my brains out. And yet I know people who have traveled from South Africa, from New Zealand, from Australia, from the UK. I don't know why I'm pointing in all these directions. I've got no idea where these countries are, but they feel like they're over there. And they've come to one place in the United States and they've had their breakthrough. And then they've gone home and they've built their business. So if you're sitting somewhere overseas and you're making an excuse, I had one guy tell me he wasn't worthy of going to an event. He goes, when I'm worthy, when I've done this, when I've done that, I'll get to an event. And I said, dude, you get yourself to an event and you'll be worthy. Okay, you need to talk this stuff around. Okay, you need to put this in reverse. You don't need to be worthy to get to an event. You don't need to have a result to get to an event. Get to an event and you'll have a result. Okay, that stuff works in reverse. So, to my darlings, for those of you who live overseas, I know it's tough. I know it's hard. But even if you can just commit to getting to one big, major national, one, and you get that one nugget, that one golden something that just rocks your world, and you take that back home to Australia, to the UK, to the Philippines, wherever it is you've come from, South Africa, you take that one nugget home, and it shifts your business and propels you, you can't put a price on that, okay? So measure your excuses with your potential reward. 4 months later, we had our first 5-figure month. Income disclaimer, results not typical. I had a fire lit up under my ass, okay? 4 months later, we did $11,517. Income disclaimer, results vary, okay? I'm coming into land because we have 9 minutes left, but that's my message for you tonight, darlings. Events will change your life. Maybe even before you get on the plane. Okay, you change. You change. You become the person you need to be to build that team, to build that vision. You have conviction. You have belief. Everything in you changes. That's it, my darling.
I don't think I can add anything to that rendition of what you've just said, because I totally believe everything you've just said, because I've experienced myself. I can't even describe, as you probably can, how to describe to people when you have that breakthrough moment. It is just the most incredible feeling. And you know, like you mentioned on worthiness and whatnot, but you know when you have that breakthrough, there is no doubt in your mind what your worthy is. I mean, you were here, you're here for a purpose. And we go to these events because succeed and raise our business to the successful limit. And you know, in closing, I just want to say to you, unless anybody else has got anything to add before we do close, I want to say to you, all of you out there, the biggest gift that you can give yourself is to the commitment and the investment in your own growth. That is the biggest gift you can give. And if you have a dream, it matters. And if you have a dream, then it's meant to happen. And if you have a dream, you will do anything to make that dream come true. Do you know when you're going to have your breakthrough moment? That's why you need to get to events. And the memories that you get from events will come back and always be with you. Always. So we'll all see you in Orlando, the end of October. And now, well, we'll see you next Monday for sure. But thanks for joining us, and I hope that you've gotten some value out of this. So take care, and we'll see you soon.